Yep.
Roy, time has flown by. We've actually spent quite a bit of time talking, but it seems like it was like 5 minutes ago that we started.
It went fast. It was great.
It went fast, as always. As predicted, it's always a joy to talk with you, and I'm sure we'll catch up several times more. And when you write your book, we'll definitely have you back, maybe even before that. Then you can tell us the morsels of wisdom that you've derived from your book. But I want to say, listen, thanks a lot for your wealth of knowledge and your sharing and your great way to analyze things and look at it from how should I say, a neutral perspective. I like the fact that you embrace the fact it's just a means to an end. It's a great means to an end, but it shouldn't be over-evaluated. And the more flexible we are, the more agile we are, also with our methodology, the better we can become as managers. Okay? Do you guys have any questions? We have. Oh yeah, we have a question. So
Sure.
what we often do in this session too is I let my crew. The great thing about my crew here is they're not from our discipline. So when they listen, if they're falling asleep, I know whether it's going good. They're still awake.
That's good.
And then their questions are always brilliant because they ask it from kind of the third party.
Mark, I always find that people that are not in our industry get it so much better than we do.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the first thing you want to do is try to reduce it as much as possible, which is the hardest thing to do, right? Reducing it. Unplanned work, those interruptions absolutely destroy your productivity, right? So anything you can do to try to say, maybe like I have certain hours where I'm more available to try to maybe get some more focus time, right? There's also a technique that's called, Mark, I know you're aware of this, the Pomodoro technique.
Yeah.
Right? Use the Pomodoro technique,
Familiar with
which
it?
where you get 30 minutes of focused activities to reduce those interruptions. That said, of course, you're going to get interruptions, right? So what you'll typically do is just learn how much of those interruptions or how many of those are happening during a day and just treat that as a layer of your capacity. I figure that every day I'm going to spend an hour of doing just interruptions and accept that that's what it is. It's not worth writing it down because it'll take you more time to write it down than actually just doing the work. So just treat it as a layer of peanut butter, right? It's just a layer of capacity that you can't get back.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think that's a hot topic. I didn't realize that that's sometimes an issue because they have this concept of open workspace and it's so engaging and you have osmotic learning. But I like your term white noise because it's basically people are often just walking in and dumping their thoughts on you and then leaving. And then you're totally distracted for 15 minutes and it takes you a while to get back on track, which
Mark,
is a huge productivity killer.
I think it's funny that to me, those open spaces are the single greatest reason to buy noise canceling earphones, right? They are terrible for productivity. They're not designed properly. They've been recognized as one of the worst structures to put in place. They're better structures. One of them is called commons and caves, where you have, certain common areas, but even those are still isolated with a smaller group. And then you have caves where you can go off and be one of, just by yourself for a little bit. Those open spaces don't work well.
Yeah, I think if the open workspaces are too close to the rest of the organization, then we've got a serious problem. We actually, in one of the projects I worked in, I remember I used to have 3 different desks that I would work off, depending on what project I was assigned to. And there was there were time frames when I was at this desk or that desk. And the reason why the facility management insisted on if you were assigned to a project, you get a separate on a different floor. And the whole design of the workspace was different.
Was around the project.
So you felt and people didn't know where you were because they knew the people that knew you from a different context knew you at that desk, but when you were at a different desk, they didn't bother you.
So another technique that we use often when you've got those big open space concepts is you put up a red flag. Right? Some kind of an indicator. Your red flag means I am not open for business. Don't bother me right now.
Our project manager used to have an open door policy, but he had a lit lamp. And if that was on, it was don't bother.
Leave me alone. Right? And I think it's fair. Everybody deserves to have some focus time.
Absolutely. Rico, do you have any questions? Rico's good.
Excellent. Mark, thank you so much for having me on. A lot of fun. I always enjoyed talking with you. So thanks.
Okay. All the best.